Rant number 5, I'm just going to get straight into it. First thing I'm going to say of my rant is Aljamain Sterling. This man went from being one of the most hated people in the UFC, arguably one of the most disgraced champions in the entire company, to now potentially being the bantamweight GOAT. Now, I know, I agree. Right now, Aljamain Sterling is not the bantamweight GOAT. He's not. But he's not far from it. He's really not. He's just... Let's look at his recent fights. So, before he won the belt, he had a bit of an up and down career. But people forget that this guy put Sandhagen to sleep. I'm just saying. Sandhagen's a top contender now. I think he's fighting Umar Nurmagomedov in August or September. But he put him to sleep. Then we'll talk about the first Yan fight. Yes, Peter Yan was winning that fight. And Aljamain, I don't want to say he won that fight. I want to say he got gifted a win. Because let's be honest, he kind of faked it to get the belt. Anthony Smith could have done that against John Jones, but he faked it to get the belt. Everyone knows it. It's pretty clear. And then at this point in time, especially after the first rematch was booked between him and Peter, he kind of avoided it at first due to injury. Since then, at that point, he was one of the most hated fighters in the UFC. Nobody respected him. Everyone disgraced him as a champ. No one was proud to have him as champ. Everyone wanted Peter Yan as champ again. No one really wanted Sterling as champ. Goes out there, beats Peter Yan, and I know it was a bit of a close decision, but he shocked the world. He really did. No one thought... Everyone thought, including me, that Peter Yan was going to mould him in like 2 rounds, and it just wasn't the case. Then he fights Peter Yan and fights one of the greatest of all time in bantamweight, TJ Dillashaw. Yes, I know he was on steroids. And yes, I know TJ Dillashaw did get injured in that fight. I think he had like a shoulder injury or something. But he goes out there and absolutely demolishes Dillashaw. I think it was round 1 or round 2. After the Dillashaw fight, was it Cejudo after the Dillashaw fight? Yeah, I think after the Cejudo fight, the Dillashaw fight, another one of the best in the world at bantamweight and flyweight, Henry Cejudo, and it was a close fight again, but he beat him. He beats Henry Cejudo. I was watching that, and I even gave the decision to Aljo. People who didn't give that to Aljo are just haters of him. And now he's going to be fighting Sean O'Malley, and to be honest, I think he's going to wreck Sean O'Malley. I think he's going to beat him either ground and pound or submission in the first 2 rounds, but that's just a rant, because no one thought that Aljamain Sterling, after the first Yan fight, would ever even come close to the word GOAT. But the fact that he's not far from being the GOAT at bantamweight, he just needs to pick up a couple of wins. And honestly, he's got it. But fair play to Aljamain Sterling. I don't even hate him that much, but he isn't far from the GOAT status at bantamweight. If you disagree, then you're just a hater. Next rant is about Sean Strickland, and this is against the fans. Now, I don't want to be that guy, but I'm going to be that guy. Sean Strickland does not deserve a title shot for beating Abbas. I'm just going to say it. He doesn't deserve a title shot. People just want him to get a title shot because, first of all, the build-up with Adesanya would be funny, which I'd agree with. And because people just like him, because he's also hateable, but he's also likable. Depends what your humour type is. But he doesn't deserve a title shot. He loses to Alex Pereira brutally. Then he fights with Jared Cannonier, who's just absolutely smoked Marvin Vettori, by the way, and should be next in line, who beat Sean Strickland. I know it was a bit of a dodgy decision. And now Sean Strickland's picked up a couple wins against Imavov and Abbas. And to be honest, they both looked like cans, especially Abbas. He looked like a can. I think Robert Whittaker versus Dricus du Plessis should determine who Strickland fights next, and Adesanya. The winner of that fight should take on Adesanya for the middleweight champion, whether that's a trilogy with Whittaker or if Dricus du Plessis gets a title fight, and that's a little storyline has happened. And the loser, which is kind of inevitably going to be Dricus du Plessis, the African. I think he should fight Strickland. I'm sure that'll be a good build-up as well. Strickland to just bully Dricus du Plessis for whinging about the fact that he's African. No one cares. It's a stupid storyline. Get a personality, mate. Being African isn't a personality. Yeah, Sean Strickland doesn't deserve a title shot, I don't feel like. I still feel like he's 1 win away. You can't get mauled by Alex Pereira well, not mauled, but knocked out cold by Alex Pereira, who just got knocked out cold by Adesanya, and also lose to Jared Cannonier, who's next in line, and deserve a title shot for beating Imavov and Abus. I get, he deserves a good fight now. He's just fought two people that probably most people wouldn't want to fight due to their last names. But I still think Sean Strickland, he should have one more contender, and I still think it should be the loser of Dricus du Plessis and Robert Whittaker. Marvin Vettori, he trains with, so that's not going to happen. He deserves someone at the top level, and those are the only two people in the loser of that fight that I really think he should fight. Jared Cannonier could be a good one, but they've just fought, and Jared Cannonier won, so there's no need for that. Paulo Costa's booked against Ikram, and I doubt he's going to fight immediately, Costa. But yeah, Sean Strickland, I know everyone's going to disagree with this, but he does not deserve a title shot. And if he did fight Adesanya, again, I don't want to be the guy to say this, but he would get knocked out. He would get KO'd against Adesanya in one round. Sean Strickland's fighting style is very odd. He will, I think he could beat du Plessis. I really think he could beat du Plessis after Whittaker beats him. I just don't think he deserves a title shot, and that's just my opinion on it. I don't think Strickland deserves a title shot. My final rant is very weird. It's kind of like a no-brainer, but I still see MMA fans saying this, and I'm just going to get it off my chest and get it out there. It's a little bit of a rant. I know most of you are going to disagree with me anyway, but there are a few people. Khabib is not the GOAT. He's probably top 5. My current GOAT list is John Jones, GSP, what's his name? Demetrius Johnson, Anderson Silva, and Khabib. Khabib is not the GOAT. He's got 3 title defenses against McGregor, Poirier, and Gaethje. Oliveira's got a better resume than McGregor. I'm just going to say it right now. Oliveira has a Oliveira has a better resume than Khabib. He does. He's beaten more of the top contenders. He's beaten Chandler, Dariush. He'd also beat McGregor, let's be honest. People make the argument. I'm not going over this. I'm just saying Khabib is not the greatest of all time. A lot of his record, I know I hate when people say this, it's a padded record. Well, yeah, most people have a padded record, but I have to say it. It was a padded record. I do admit he never lost a fight, but he should have fought way more. John Jones fought in the 2009-2010 era, and he's still fighting in 2023. Khabib, I think he debuted in 2014 and came back in 2016, and he fought until 2020. He fought in the UFC for about overall 5-6 years. John Jones had 12 title defenses. Khabib had 3. John Jones outstruck people and out-wrestled people. Khabib only really out-wrestled people. And don't get me wrong, Khabib is the lightweight GOAT. I'm happy to say that. Khabib is the lightweight GOAT. This feels like a really casual rant. I'm ranting about Khabib, but he's just not the best of all time. He's not the greatest of all time. He's the greatest lightweight, I still think, but he's not the greatest of all time. And GSP beats him as well. GSP's been around for longer, came back, double champ. Yeah, Khabib's only been a champion in one weight division as well. Jones has been a champion in 2. He was the youngest champion in the UFC, and he's still the champion to this day. Obviously, he lost it, not because he lost to like a person. You kind of make the argument that Jones took steroids, but at the end, yeah, Khabib is not the greatest of all time. I'm just going to get it off my chest. Like I said, I know most of you are going to agree with that anyway, but there will be a select few who call Khabib the greatest of all time. It's just a really casual opinion. He's not. He's in the top 5 list. I think he's number 5. Most people wouldn't even put him in his top 5 list, so I'm being generous by putting him number 5. Anderson Silva's better than him. Demetrius Johnson is really underrated, and he's better than him. George St. Pierre's better than him. John Jones is better than him. Those 4 have better legacies than Khabib, better resumes than Khabib. Khabib is not the greatest of all time. He was the greatest lightweight in a certain era, but he was not the greatest of all time. Final.